need to understand the theories, alright? So this is a broad definition of HRM. Remember, the question that you see will not ask you just to define HRM. No. The question will not be like that. The question is very broad. So in your answer, you may start off with some definition or whatever. Clear? Alright, and we do not expect you to be able to memorize all the definition. Don't do that. You'll go mad. Just some idea what the definition says. You can see this definition. One of them, Bedwell. Bedwell talk about HRM refers to a collection of policies, all right, to organize work in an employment relationship, on the management of work and the management of people. And then there's another definition, all right. Story talk about employment the seek competitive advantage with a group of highly committed, capable workforce, right, using a series of techniques to get things done. Many. So I leave it to you. This is a broad definition. Don't go and memorize. Have some idea. Good enough. Clear? So this is the definition of HRM. Now, this topic talk about strategic HRM class. Therefore, the idea of strategic, you can see here, all right, we are talking about, every time we talk about strategic, we talk about alignment. Alignment with the company's strategies and objectives. So you see this word here, alignment here. Focus on alignment and integration. Isn't it? So the word strategic refers to alignment. So if you are doing marketing, strategic marketing, finance, strategic finance, same concept. We want to make sure whatever thing that we do in finance or in marketing, in this case, in our case here, in HR, is aligned with what the company wants to do. This is being strategic. Alright, so this is, then you can see, to fit with the business strategy. Alright, so whatever strategy you want, your company wants. So we, at the same time, we must also be flexible. Isn't it? Now, environment change, we must be able to adapt and change our strategy accordingly. This way we're coming. Very easy. That's the basic concept. So I go through the slides. I highlight some key concepts. You are not expected to go and memorize every slides. Not possible. Not possible at all. I highlight the key points, understanding, so that you have a basic understanding of what we're talking about. Are you following, class? Can I? Okay. Alright, so this is HR strategy to fit in the company strategies. And then we have, just now we talk about vertical and horizontal alignment and integration. What exactly does this mean? Yeah. Then vertical. Vertical means this way. Between the company, between the HR strategy and the company strategy. Horizontal means across all the HR practices. Very easy to understand. Again, I keep highlighting. Alright, the exam question will ask you what is vertical alignment, what is horizontal alignment. No, they won't. They ask you very broadly. Discuss, for example, discuss strategic HRM and how does it affect company, whatever. Isn't it very broad? The question is very broad. So we expect you, within these broad questions, we need you to be very specific. So when you write your answers, you may want to mention things like this one, vertical alignment, strategic alignment. You know what I mean? All right, vertical alignment, strategic alignment, or this. Okay. Are you all there, class? The connection is lost. Wait, the file is lost. Wait, Class, are you all there? The connection was lost. There now? Okay, back, Okay, so when we talk about strategic HRM, basically there are two concepts: vertical alignment and horizontal alignment. Vertical means whatever thing that we do, all right, is linked to the business strategy. Horizontal alignment means, right, consistent approach in managing people across all the HR practices, which includes recruitment, selection, training, performance appraisal, isn't it? So when we carry out all these HR practices, it must be consistently delivered. Alright, it must affect everybody in the same way. This is called horizontal alignment. Yeah. Now I want to give you an example of vertical alignment that we talked about. You see, we talked about HR strategy and business strategy. Now just give you a simple illustration. Now, supposing the company want to focus on customer service over the next 2 years, for example, the company has not been doing well. So the company has decided that over the next 2 years, the focus will be on customer service, for example. Now, so this is the company strategy. I'm trying to explain what is vertical alignment, right? So business strategy is to focus on customer service. There are many other strategies. So let's just look at one. Now, so when you are a HR manager, now you know that the company want to focus on customer service. So when you embark on your HR activities, including things like recruitment and selection, the people that you bring in must have strong customer service skill. Isn't it? This is to support what the company wants to do. And then once they come in, you must train them in the area of customer service. In terms of training and development. Appraiser, you must make sure when you appraise them, one of the criteria is customer service skill. Reward, those people who do well in an area of customer service should be rewarded. This is what we are talking about vertical alignment, that our people strategy in all aspects of HR is in line with what the company wants to do. Okay, all right, so this is what we are talking about. Okay, we talk about this vertical and horizontal alignment. Right? Okay, just now I explained to you what is vertical. Now I talk about horizontal. When HR function focuses on HR policy with strong relationship to each other, each HR policy complement one another. That's just how I just was trying to explain to you: recruitment and selection, training, performance appraisal, reward. Everything has to do with customer service. There's some link somewhere. Okay? Alright, so now we ask you to look at the different theory, the HRM model, the different theories. Okay, model HR theory. There are four basic theory. This topic is about this, about the models. So let me explain. The first one we talk about is hard and soft HRM. Hard and soft HRM. Look at the concept, the difference. Look at the hard side. Look at the hard side here. Emphasize on the quantitative business strategic side of managing HR. Right? So what does this mean? Basically, when we talk about quantitative, we are talking about numbers. We are concerned about absenteeism, turnover. Right? We are concerned about profit, market share, productivity, efficiency. This is the hard side. All right. So the hard side of so therefore, you may go about measuring your employees' performance based on a lot of indicators, KPIs, a lot of hard data. All right, number of customer complaint against him or whatever. This is the hard HRM. The soft side, talking about the soft, as the name implies, that HR is important, our people are important. We must treat them well, engage them, talk to them, so that they will be committed. They will stay with us. So we don't just focus on the hard side. The soft side is just as important. You know what I mean? So this is the difference between hard HRM versus soft. Okay? All right? So the soft side basically talk about the fact that we think HR is important, the people are important, that there's a need for us to engage the employee, all right, so that they're happy, they're motivated, they stay with us. Okay? The second model we look at, so the first model is very clear, hard and soft. The second model we look at is best fit model. Look at the definition. Right, so don't worry. This part is basically talking about the alignment. Best fit refers to the alignment. That's how we spoke about the alignment. There you can see policies that complement each other to support the business objective. So these are the key points. Good enough for you to bring home. Don't have to worry too much. Okay, here. So this is what I want you to bring home in terms of best fit. It's a concept that we talked about just now about alignment. All the thing is in line with what the company wants to do, the strategies. This is best fit. Okay, best fit. All right, so what we have covered so far here, this part here, best fit. You see, best fit also talk about internal and external context, as well as the life cycle of a company. Now, I just give you an illustration. I just want to highlight to you. See, when we talk about, every time when we come out with any HR policies, we need to be aware. We need to be aware of what is happening around us, our corporate culture, our profile of people that we have, as well as the external environment, political, economic, social environment, all this, before we come up with the policies. So before we come up with any policies or strategies, we need to be aware. So this is what we call so this all, when we talk about best fit, we are not just talking about alignment. We're also talking about there's a need for us to know what's around us. Trying to understand the internal factor and external factor, as well as the life cycle of a company. So I want you to understand this part here, life cycle. The relationship between a company life cycle and the HR practices. Initially, when you were starting up, you can see a lot of flexibility. Because you are starting up, you are not sure where you want to head. A lot of things a lot of uncertainty. Therefore, you tend to adopt a more flexible approach in dealing with people in terms of HR policies. As you grow, as a company grow, you have 20 people, and then you start to have more people, 50 people, 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, 1,000 people. You need to have a lot of formalized. Everything must be laid out clearly, the procedure, everything, so that there's consistency, isn't it? So it cannot be today you employ someone, you pay him starting salary $2,000, degree holder or diploma holder. Another person next day come in, same qualification, same background, you pay him 2,500. Then you have a big problem. So as a company grow, right, you need to have to develop all this set of policy, become more formalized so that there's consistency. Okay, now as you go to the mature stage, cut costs. Okay, so there's a need at a company when you reach a mature state means maturity level stagnant, company market share may have been stagnant, there's no way for you to move up anymore. Alright, so it's stagnant there. So HR policies to support could include looking at retrenchment, redundancy, retrenchment, all these things comes in. Cut costs, cost cutting, right? Automation, all these things come into the picture. And a company decline, we talk about downsizing, rationalize. So this is the relationship between a company life cycle and HR practices. Yeah. So this is where we are. And then we have other models like competitive advantage model. Obviously, if the company decides to focus on service, then the HR policies will follow. If the company decides to focus on innovation as a competitive advantage, then the HR policy will also follow. Clear so far? The two models. Now we look at the third one, best practice. Alright, best practice focus on a universal set of HR practices. Okay? And universally, every time when we talk about best practice, we are talking about being able to be in a position to ensure that people become more committed, more involved. This part here. This part. This is universally true, isn't it? We want the outcome is whatever thing that we want to do, HR side, we want to be able to make sure at the end of the day, our people are committed and very involved, so that they will stay with us. That's the whole idea. The best practice focus on this. Okay. Now, so what are the kind of best practices that will allow you to have people who are committed, who will stay with you for a long time? Yeah. Best practice. Then, as a company, anywhere else, here in Singapore, if you're a company in other parts of the world, in Vietnam, China, India, US, Canada, Australia, when we talk about best practice, HR practices, this is something that is always there. Cannot run away. That if you are able to do all this and do all this well, you should be able to get committed people, and people are more involved here. This part here, involvement and commitment. How are you able to do this? By doing all this. Makes sense, isn't it? Right? The reverse. If you are not able to, your hiring criteria, the people that you select, bad hire, the people that you select, poor quality, you don't give them training, no career opportunity there. The performance, their reward is not based on performance, but based on something else. Then very soon you will see people slowly will leave. Then you have a big problem. People leave okay in our class. You have nobody wants to join us. That is the issue. We don't understand. But so best practice refers to if you are able to do all this across culture, anywhere, if you are able to adopt all these HR practices, you should be able to be able to get high quality involvement, committed people with you, who will stay with you for a long time. Alright, so we also talk about commitment model class. Here, this part here. Yeah, commitment model. What exactly does this mean? Yeah. commitment model. You can see here. The idea is very simple. The word commitment comes from the fact that we want people to be committed. Right? So how are we able to do this? So we talk about all this. Soft practices, internal fit, empowerment, common sense, isn't it, class? I honestly do not expect you to go memorize on this. You just read them with understanding. Read them with understanding. What do you mean by the model? Good enough for you. Understand, class? There's no need for you to go and memorize. Okay? Commitment. The left side talk about in the workplace, we try to do this, control. A lot of rules, a lot of procedures, alright, all this. And the relationship is very sour, no good. We try to move away from this to a more commitment type of work, flat structure, all this. Job enlargement, information sharing, consensus building, teamwork, people can work together. Then very likely you are able to elicit commitment from the employee. Makes sense? Yeah. So you look at yourself from the point of view of an employee. Alright, when we talk about the kind of work the kind of organization, the kind of work that you want to be involved in, the kind of setup that you want to be working in, you definitely want to have one that is flat structure that allows you to be involved in decision making on this. That allows you to enlarge your job, information sharing, all these things, rather than a very controlled environment. Isn't it? So this is the whole idea. Also, in a commitment model, we talk about this. So the point we're trying to make is, we should move away from a control model and adopt more towards a more commitment model, so that we are able to elicit commitment from the employee. So the moment they are committed, they'll stay with us. Okay? So this is the whole intention. So the advantage, as you can see, this part here, competitive advantage. If you are able to adopt a commitment approach towards human resource, you have people who are more committed, they'll stay with us. As far as employees are concerned, they are also happy. They learn a lot, they pick up more skills, skill upgrading, all these things comes in. They have more autonomy. They have more autonomy in making decisions. Alright, so this is the pluses, advantages. Okay, don't worry too much of the critic of this, so just Harvard model. So we also talk about other theories, models in terms of getting you to see the whole picture, how HRM is being run. So we have a total here, just now earlier on, there are altogether 4 main models, Joshua. Yeah, there's 4. So within these 4, there are sub-models to look at. Are you there? So I'm just going through the models for you to have a basic understanding. This is the Harvard model. Harvard model basically talks about, see, the whole idea is we want to see this outcome. For you to achieve this outcome, you need to work backward. A lot of things that you need to do here, to get here, so that you can have these long-term consequences. This is I always tell students, this is the way you look at Harvard model. This is the way you look at models. That you always look at the outcome that you want to see. Then you work backward. What are the things that you need to do to achieve this outcome. So in this case, the Harvard model focus in terms of looking at being aware of stakeholders' interests, looking at the external environment before we come out with any policies, so that everybody will be happy. Then you can achieve this. Make sense? So the point is, if you don't do this, every time you come up with policies, you ignore the stakeholders. You just come up with policies. Employee will not be happy. Union will not be happy. So the moment they're not happy, they're not committed. Then you cannot expect to see this happening. Okay? This is Harvard. We have gas model. Again, you see, you look at very similar. You look at the outcome. We always want to achieve this. Gas model. Then we go backward. What are the things that we need to do in terms of policies so that you can achieve this outcome for you to see this? The overall outcome that we talk about. Alright, so your policy part, all the HR related policy must be strong enough, objective enough, fair enough, right? Inclusive enough, cover everybody, so that everybody's happy, committed. They're happy, they're able to provide good service, quality service to the customer. Then you see this organizational outcome. Okay? Okay, so some of the things that I just, don't worry. And then the last model we talk about is resource-based model. Look at resource-based. Basically, the resource-based focus on human resources. We're talking about people, how unique they are, making use of them to make sure that we can provide the extra advantage over our competitors. Resource-based. Making sure our people are well trained, well developed, skilled, qualified, so that they can be the difference between our competitors. Alright, so we want to be able to provide sustainable competitive advantage. So we rely on our resource. So this is what we're talking about. You see, we're talking about the people resource, human resource. Yeah. In terms of value, in terms of reality, in terms of very difficult to imitate, in terms of how things are organized, we want to be able to ensure we do it well internally in relation to our people. So if we train our people well, they're so good, they're so developed, so competent, they become very rare. They become very valuable for us. It's so difficult for our competitors to copy us, the way we train our people. Then we will be able to achieve that kind of competitive advantage. That's the whole idea. So the advantages are basically you are able to look at the people aspect. Your focus is on the people. You want to make sure your people are so unique, so good, so rare, and they become a difference. Okay. So the last slide just give you an idea. Basically, summing up in terms of the relationship between HRM and organizational performance, this one, yeah? This one, yeah. Then going forward, HR department has now been positioned to be a center of expertise. We give advice. Department got problem, there are issues related to rewarding people, training people, they come and see us. Alright? We work closely with the line managers, with the supervisor, HR manager. We cannot be everywhere. Alright? So I've got 2,000 employees. It's not possible for me to be reaching out to 2,000 employees. So I rely on the line managers and supervisors to help me. So we work together, strategic partner, and then we have shared service. We talk about the routine transaction or these are all non-value added. So nowadays, those administrative non-value added kind of transaction we outsource to the shared service. Okay, so this is how HR is being organized now. Any question, class, related to topic 1 on strategic HRM? Clear now, class? Am I going too fast? Everybody okay? Before I move on to topic 2. Yeah, I'm not getting the response. Oh, okay, Kenneth, okay, good. No issue, Can I move on? So the session here is to allow you to do a revisit, a form of revision, okay? Now I'm going to cover topic 2. We talk about resourcing and talent management class. Alright, so what we have covered just now is just an introduction class. Just get to understand the basic concept, some models involved, that's all. Okay? The rest of the topic, I need you to be more familiar. Some of the concepts that I'm going to highlight to you will be useful for you to understand. Alright, so this topic talks about employee resourcing. Employee resourcing is basically covered 3 areas. Manpower planning, recruitment and selection. Then the last part, we talk about talent management. Okay? So we talk about talent management first, the definition. Okay? There are many definitions out there, many definitions. So one of the definitions, some people, when we talk about talent management, refers to only the high flyers, those people who have leadership potential. So in this particular case, if you work in a company, you have scholars. Scholars are high flyers. You know, some companies have this scholarship. They give scholarship to people who do well. So when they come back after the studies, they become a scholars. So these scholars become a high flyer. They are talent. Okay. So all right. So there are many definitions. Another definition is here. Talent management refers to this. So the definition includes your ability to attract, engage, and retain key talent, key employees. In this case, we are not talking about average employee. We are talking about really good one with potential and really people whom we want to attract. Once they come in, we want to be able to keep them. We don't let them go. Alright, so this is what we are talking about. So again, because we are HR module, we are talking about a range of HR things that we need to do to really attract them, to really keep them and retain them. Okay? Alright, so once you attract them in, we want to make sure they stay with us. Alright, so this is a survey, just give some idea. Don't go and memorize the percentage, no use. Just give you an idea. The business survey to talk about what are the things that company do to really attract talent, to keep talent. Okay? Yeah. Talent management approach. Read them. So you must be able to identify key positions in a company. Which are the key positions that you can develop people, all right? Then then you identify who are the people that can fit in. You go about developing them, train them, give them opportunity, give them more responsibility. This part here. And then there are people who are exceptionally good. You must make sure you make every effort to make sure training is given to them. Right? We want to make sure that there are things that we do in the company to really keep them. Once you attract them in, you really want them to stay. No way that can we let them go. This is being strategic. Hello? So you may identify some key position, VP operation, for example, Vice President operation position. You may realize that this position now, VP operation, this guy, about 50 plus, 60, planning for retirement soon. So you must start to plan talent management, basically talking about the people that you have. You must be able to identify who are potential that can move up to fill up this VP position. Once you identify these people, you must have planned for them. What is it that you need to do to help them to be exposed, to train them, so that when the time comes, they are ready to move up to the VP position. This is talent management. Okay? Now this topic also asks you to look at manpower planning. Alright? Asking to look at starting from manpower needs, in terms of long term versus the kind of people that we have, the kind of people that you can use. This part here, internal staff. These are basically outsiders, the flexible workers, contingent workers, temp staff, contract staff, freelancer. These are things that we can use, isn't it? So the idea is we want to keep our workforce lean and fit. We cannot afford to keep a very big, large workforce. Very expensive. Alright? So there has to be some flexibility. Okay? The reason why company needs to do this is because of all these reasons. You are all aware. Especially now, COVID-19 situation. Everything is so uncertain. We cannot afford to keep large workforce. So we must be flexible. Okay? So this is the idea that because of market demand, we need to react fast to be more competitive, Okay, there are some changes in the regulations that require us to adjust our workforce accordingly. Okay? Right, so when we talk about manpower planning, there are many terms that we use. Manpower planning, HR planning, they are the same words, same words, same meaning. All right, this is one definition of HR planning. This word is useful. This definition is useful. I always tell students, when we talk about HR planning, we are talking about with the right number of people, right skill, at the right place, at the right time, to help the company to achieve the goal. If you are able to do this, you have done an excellent job in manpower planning. Okay? Definition. What is the purpose of human resource planning? Yeah. At the end of the whole thing, class, later on when we look at the steps, you'll realize that at the end of the whole manpower planning process, we have come to a point where we have to decide. It's a question of demand and supply of manpower, isn't it? So when we talk about HR planning properly, we are talking about this. We are able to help the company to achieve this. At any point of time, we know how many people we need, how many people we have, isn't it? Now we cannot afford to, see, manpower planning is basically talking about, we cannot afford, when a company needs people, when you're short of people, we don't know what to do. We panic. We can't. So therefore, we need to do some forecasting. There's need for us to do some planning, to plan ahead. The number of people we need, what kind of people we need, isn't it? So this is the whole idea. Then you can see this process. Then you can see? Forecasting demand and supply, then the demand and supply. At the end of it, this is the action plan. If demand is more than supply, you may have the need to recruit. If demand is less than supply, you may need to retrench people. Basically, alright? So we go through the steps one by one. Phase 1, stock taking. How do you start your manpower process? You look at environment, external environment. You take stock. You must know what's happening outside. Company strategy, what's happening on it. Then you start to forecast. Step 2. Forecasting technique. You forecast. Alright? You may ask the expert, then the expert opinion. Duffy technique. People in the organization who are the expert, the line managers, the supervisor, the marketing people, they know about market demands, they know about customer taste. They will be able to tell you, okay, this is expert opinion or managerial judgment, or top management make a judgment call. They look at different scenario, then they decide how they should move ahead. It's a judgment call. It may turn out to be wrong, but this is one way for you to plan for your manpower needs. Okay, so this is here. Okay, forecasting demand. The other ways, just now earlier on is quantitative, now it's quantitative, numbers. We look at trend analysis, we look at ratio analysis. Trend analysis, we look at the business over the last 6 months. Then you project over the next 6 months, the business volume, how many people you need. Or you do use ratio analysis. You see? This one. In terms of the space that you need, then you estimate the ratio, how many people you need for space. So this is to forecast your demand of people. Then you look at the supply of people. You forecast the supply of people here. Where the supply of people can come from all this, through all this. You have statistics related to turnover data, all this thing comes in. Isn't it? This is within the company, right? Outside the company, you need to know about the market condition, labor market condition, economic condition, all this. To be able to allow you to have some idea what kind of supply of people that you can tap on. Alright, so earlier on, we talked about demand. Now we talk about supply. Then you will come to a point where you have to decide action plan here. Demand versus supply. If there's a demand more than supply, what should you do? If demand less than supply, what should you do? This is the action plan. Okay? At the end of it, after you have done all this, you do an evaluation to see whether your manpower needs have been able to help you to achieve your goal, your turnover, your profit, all this evaluation. So what we just covered are the steps involved in manpower planning. Alright, you need to understand the process. Okay? The next thing that we talk about here is succession planning class. Very quickly, don't worry so much. This one basically talk about key positions. We need to make sure key positions are being planned. Just now we talk about talent management. Linked to this, that we must be able to know the key position that you have, and you must be able to know the people you must be able to identify who are people that can be promoted up. Once you are able to identify, then you go about developing them, training them. This is part of succession planning. So the whole idea is, if you don't do this, when the time comes to replace someone who leaves suddenly, the position is vacant for a long time because the people are not ready, because you didn't do succession planning. Okay? We finished manpower planning. Now we look at the recruitment and selection part. Before you go about your recruitment, you need to know who do we want, what kind of people we need. We go about doing this by doing the job analysis. Then we can go about how to recruit, where to get the people. Once you are able to know where to get the people, you are able to attract them in. You need to select them. Selection. Right? So we look at the job analysis first. This part, job analysis. We need to find out, after your manpower planning, you will know that your demand is more than supply. Let's say, assuming your demand is more than you need the people. Your shortage of people. So you need to know what kind of people you need, what position is needed. Alright, so you do a job analysis. The product of this job analysis is called job description and job spec. So you have this. This is the product. Now, this is a very useful piece of document, this too, because without this piece of document, you cannot recruit. In your advertisement that you're going to put up, if you do not know what kind of people you need, who does he report to, what kind of qualification is required. So job analysis is always a starting point for you to do a recruitment. If you never do any job description, if you never do any job analysis, you will not have any job description or job spec. How then can you get the information about the job? Information about the job are obtained from all these two pieces of document. Then you can start to go about doing a recruitment. Okay? The next one, then is the recruitment method. Right? Then you start to recruit. Where to get the people, how to get the people. Advertisement, recruitment agency, isn't it? Word of mouth, referral, employee referral. And how successful you are also depends on the branding. The company branding, the company brand in the marketplace. Now you can put out a big advertisement, but your company has bad reputation. No point. People will not want to come and join you. Okay? Alright? And then we talk about this concept, realistic job review. That at the point of recruitment, when I do my recruitment campaign, conduct recruitment talk, I have to make sure that everything about the company, the good and bad, I share with you. I let you know. I don't want to overpromise. I don't want to oversell the job. And then when you come in, this is not what you want to, not what you expected. I want to tell you, realistic job review means tell you exactly what you expect about the job, the good and the bad. Then we let you decide. This is what we talk about, realistic job review. Okay? This is just an example to show you the Volkswagen Group internally they source people, how they source. Now this is quite common. Before you advertise in a newspaper, you put your advertisement in a notice board, internal recruitment, where you give your internal staff the chance to be considered. Very good practice. Okay? After you have recruited, assuming you run an advertisement campaign, you advertise in a newspaper, people respond, now you need to select. Your selection comes in. you must make sure the person that comes in, that you bring in, person job fit and person organization fit. They are able to fit into our culture, and they are able to fit into the kind of job that you're advertising. How do we know? It's based on the job description and job spec. So when you interview someone, the person who sit in front of you, they must match with what you're looking at in the job description and job spec. This is called person job fit. And then shortlist them, the candidate. These are the methods they can go about selecting them. Interviews, the tests that we can use, assessment centers. Assessment centers are usually used for manager position, where we ask a pool of potential candidates. After a few rounds, we get together within a group, different group. We give them a case study for them to look at. Then we observe them, how they interact among themselves, do presentation, role play. Then at the end of the session, we score who are the highest, who have done well in all the activities that we organize for them. This is assessment center. We usually use this for manager position and above. High flyers, very expensive. You need a panel of people to go around observing them. Not cheap. A lot of resources are used. Okay. Then we talk about the concept of reliability and validity. This part here. How do we know our selection is reliable or valid? The test that we use. So this is the idea. So usually we talk about reliability, consistency. Validity refers to relevancy. I just give you a simple illustration to talk about these two concepts. Reliability means consistency. Okay. Now, if I want to recruit, if I'm a newspaper company, SPH, Singapore Press Holding, I take in reporter. Reporter needs to write well. So every time when I consider select reporter position candidate, I ask them to subject to an essay test. So in this essay test, when I test them, actually I score them. Candidate one, when I ask you to sit for an essay test, I score him 90 marks. Today, 1 week later, I subject him to another test, another essay test. The test score should be more or less the same. Today 90 marks, next week when I test him should be about 80 plus 90. It cannot be too far difference. If it's too far difference, means the essay test is no longer reliable. There has to be some consistency. Validity refers to relevancy. The test that you administer must be relevant. The reporter job, I ask you to sit for an essay test, is relevant to the job of a reporter. It's called valid. Now, if a bus driver comes in, we employ somebody to drive a van driver, lorry driver, and I ask you to sit for an essay test. The essay test is no longer valid for the bus driver job, lorry driver, because as a bus driver or taxi van driver, he doesn't need to write well. It's no longer valid. This is what we talk about here. Validity, relevancy. So at the end of it, how do we know we got the right candidate? We look at all this. How successful they are. Retention rate. We usually look at retention rate. Beginning of the year, we take in 200 engineers. December, we look at it. Are they still around? So this is one indication. This is topic 2, class. Any question, class? Any questions before I move on to topic 3, class? All clear? Okay, good. Topic 3 talk about human resource development. Essentially talk about training and development. Now, I finish this, then we have a short break. Topic 3. So human resource development, in this case, so we ask you to look at, these are some of the terms, training, some definition. Some concepts, some terminology, every time we talk about training, we are referring to this. On-job training, short-term. Training is basically short-term. 2-day workshop, 3-day workshop, training. Then we talk about other term that we use, education, very long-term. Example could be send you for you have a degree, let's say sponsor you for a master's program. Master's program take another 3 years, for example. Education, all right? Or development. We develop you further by posting you overseas to our overseas subsidiary in Vietnam for 2 years. Overseas posting, long term, with the idea that your exposure there when you come back will be very useful. So this is development. Or learning, another concept. Now when you go for training, we expect you to have learned something from the training program. So how do we know that you have learned? It's from your behavior, that your behavior have changed. Now, in the past, before you go for training, you will have been very rude to the customer. After the training, we may observe that your behavior towards the customer have changed for the better. This is the kind of learning we talk about here. Okay? Don't worry about this. And then we talk about strategic human resource development, the term that we talk about. You see the word strategic again? Last time we talked about strategic HRM, now we talk about strategic training and development. Then you see, we are always talking about alignment with the company scope. In this case, we are talking about training. The training and the development is in line with what the company wants to do. Okay? Why is there a need for us to do this? To focus for human resource development. There are some advantages. We want our employees to have the knowledge, skill, and attitude or ability to do well in the job. If they're able to do well in the job, they can serve the customer well. Customers are happy to come back again and again, isn't it? And then it becomes a competitive advantage. So there's a need for us to look at human resource development, and then this is a business case. Company cannot afford not to train our people. And the reason why we need to push for training and development is because of all this. We need our people to have more knowledge. And because of a lot of changes that are going around. If you don't train our people, the people will not know the change, will not know how to make the changes. Alright, all these things come in. Okay? And then the advantages, if you are able to train your people well, these are the possible advantages you can see. Customers are happy, employees are happier, they will stay with the company despite. Because they have been sent for training, they are well developed, well trained, they serve the customer well, customers are happy, they compliment them, and they're happy, they'll stay with us. Okay? And then there are also reasons why companies are not prepared to spend money on training. These are some of the reasons. Why would I want to train you when after training you come back, you leave the company, you join my competitor? I'm training for my competitor. Why would I do that? A lot of companies think that way. and it's an expense to the company. And then there's no proof that training can improve our company performance. Can you tell me, is there a guarantee that when I send everybody for training, our profit will go up by 20%? Nobody can guarantee it. So usually training program, when you send people to train, the impact will not be so immediate. It takes a while for people to change their behavior, their attitude. So that's the reason why companies are not prepared to spend a lot of people, spend a lot of money on training. These are some of the reasons. Barriers. These are some of the obstacles. Time constraint, level of commitment. So some management thinks that training is a waste of time, waste money. Short term, they always look at short term results. They want immediate results. So training may not be able to help. Okay, they think that training is a waste of money. They want to see immediate training may take a while to affect the employee's attitude and behavior. Alright? In some cases, the status of the training department may be very low. Management may think that training function is an expense function. It's a cost center. So this could be the issue. Okay? How come somebody is how come the thing is moving? I'm not moving this. Okay? Now you must also know, class, it doesn't mean that when you send people for training, you'll solve the whole problem. You see? There are some of the things that cannot be solved by training. So training may not be the solution. Isn't it? You cannot assume that just because this person is not performing well, you send him for training, you'll be able to help. It may not. It may be because of the machine that he's operating on is not well maintained. Keep breaking down. So although you send him for training, you never help him. Okay? Yeah. Training cycle. We are asking to look at training cycle, the link, there are 4 parts to it. So we talk about the first part, training need analysis. Then we look at designing, establishing outcome, design the training program, you deliver the training program, then you need to evaluate. This 4 is a closed loop. It has to be closed. It's a continuous loop. Okay? So we look at the first one, T&A, training need analysis. This part here. Read them, class. The idea is we need to know what kind of training is required. How do we go about doing this? We conduct the T&A to find out about the company business strategy, about the skill that is needed, isn't it? Then you look at the people that you have here, the current level, the skill that you need, and the kind of people, the kind of skill set that you have. Then you know there's a gap. This gap can be closed by sending people for training, isn't it? Alright? So why is this step important? Yeah. Isn't it? So when the moment you know, okay, your employee, let's say you are a manager, the employee under you, you know what they need to do, and you know these are the things that they are lacking, the skill they are lacking. In order for you to close the gap, you send it for the particular training. So they are happy. They know they are being trained. This part here. Learning opportunity. Develop them. So we need to conduct this step. for us to know what kind of training is required. It cannot be you're happy, you saw something, you think John needs to go for this course, you send for this course. Without any basis. There has to be a basis. So we need to conduct the TNA, right? Now, there are many ways to conduct TNA. These are the methods. Collecting data. Questionnaire. Focus group. You do a performance appraisal. You talk to John. You review his performance and you realize that what he had been doing, he had not performed well compared to what you expect him to do. This is the performance review. Okay? Basically, 3 levels of analysis. Company level, the job level, and the person level. One by one. Company level. So, at the company level, we must know what exactly the company wants to do. Strategy, direction, focus. Then we know what kind of training is required. Right? So we talk about training level, company level, this part here. About the whole company. This part here. So we need to know about the goal, and then we at the company level, another indicator is people who write in, customer write in to complain about our service. Then we know there's certain area we need to improve. Certain group of people need to be trained. This is at the company level. Reject rates, errors. Alright? The next level down is the job level. In every company there are many jobs. Alright? So we talk about the job level. So if you are doing marketing related job, marketing related courses is required. Your finance related work. Alright, so this is task level. Depending on the job that you are doing. So we need you to be trained in the area. This is task level. And then after that, on a person level, every one of us have our own strengths and weaknesses. Right? So the supervisor will sit down with you to look at your strengths and weaknesses, what are the areas that you need to improve, what kind of training is required. Usually it's through the performance appraisal. This is person level analysis. So after you have conducted the TNA, training analysis, you need to establish the learning outcome. So you know what kind of training is required. You need to tell the employee, this is something that we want to see after you have been trained, for example, in this area, depending on the training program. Alright? Okay, don't worry about this. Okay? And then transfer of learning class. Now, employees who go for training, we must also make sure that they are able to transfer what they have learned. This is the part. This is very important. Alright? How do we ensure that this is happening? Using this model. Work environment, the design, how motivated your employee are. We must have that climate, we must have the environment for people to be able to apply what they have learned, opportunity to perform. You must give them the technological support, the software, the hardware to do the job, so that they can apply what they have learned. Isn't it? If they come back after training and then they still continue to do their old ways, then all the training will be a waste. This part, these are the characteristics of the environment. Yeah? For you to ensure that employee is able to apply what they have learned, you must make an effort create an environment for a working environment for the employee to be able to apply what they have learned. Give them the support, encourage them, give them the technology, the tools, the equipment for them to do the job, for them to apply what they have learned. And finally, after you have done all this, you need to evaluate. You need to find out exactly how well the training has been. Boss will ask you, how do we go about doing this? There are 4 levels of evaluation. All right, here. All right, Kirkpatrick talked about 4 levels. Eventually, later part, another layers, we call it ROI, come into the picture. So basically, we need to understand 4 levels, reaction. This is the most basic. At the end of a 3-day workshop, the trainee will be given a questionnaire to ask them how they feel about the training program, reaction. Then we also want to make sure when they go back to the workplace, during the training program, what have they learned? In the training program, during the 3 days, we conduct tests, quizzes, ask them to do project. If they do well in all this, that means they have learned something. After they finish the training program, they go back to the workplace, whether the behavior they have changed. And at the end of it, we talk about results. We want to see all this happening. Boss is concerned about this. He is not concerned about this 3. Big boss, he's concerned about whether the training has impact on bottom line, profit, market share. Level 4. Okay? And then now, level 4, now we talk about level 5, return on investment. Boss concern is about this, level 4 and level 5. You see, boss may have approved $300,000 budget, training budget. He wants to know the $300,000 budget that he has approved, everybody go for training, what's the return? Isn't it? He's concerned. Now, if the return shows that the $300,000 that we have trained our people has not given us what we wanted, he may look at maybe this $300,000 could have been spent somewhere else instead of training people. This is what we call return on investment. He is concerned about this. Basically, level 4 and level 5. Topic 3, any question, class? Everybody okay? Still around, everybody? Can or not? Any question, class? No need, no maths at all, nothing. Just concepts. Clear? Alright, so if you have no question, I suggest you take a short break. We come back, we continue with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can we do that? Take a short break, and now it's 8:20. You come back at 8:35. Is it okay? Cannot take too long because we have topics to cover. Alright, take a short break, huh? Can? Everybody's back? Yeah, we're going to start shortly, yeah? Okay, we're going to continue from here. Topic 4, we have 2 topics to cover. Performance management and reward system. Okay, 2 topics, 2 major topics. So we need to know about performance management. At the same time, we also need to know the reward management. Very important topic for our purpose. Okay, so we look at performance management first. We talk about performance management, the distinction between performance management and performance appraisal. This part here. Okay, the difference. So we need to know the difference between performance management and performance appraisal. Okay, very important. Now, we talk about performance management system covers everything from the start, company objectives, everything, all the way down to individual performance appraisal. Okay, so we can see here, this is the definition. You company have goals, then it cascade down to department goals. Then within the department, we have every individual have their own goals. So all the activities that we talk about here is performance management system. Okay, now see the cycle here, class. We talk about this part. Let me explain. Right, start with performance, developing goals, talking to employee, and then looking at how he can improve on his job. Then you can see here how he can work together, work hard, can improve on his job. Then you appraise him. Then you review his performance, talk to him. You see, it's a continuous cycle. It's closed. It has to be closed because it's continuous. So at the beginning of the year, the supervisor talk to the employee. Plan for him. Tell him about his performance review agreement. Tell him, I need him to produce 30 units a month. Then act on it. Then manage his performance. Then review his performance again. Everything is a cycle. Okay, so the reason why we need to do this is because of this. As far as the individual is concerned, I need to manage his performance so that I know how he performed, so that I can reward him, recognize him. From a company perspective, we look at this. You see this word legal defense? We use performance appraisal score. Everything is properly documented. We make sure that even if we decide to tell the employee to go, we are not happy with performance. If everything is properly documented, even if we sue the company, we are not worried. We are able to defend ourselves. Is that everything is documented? We've spoken to him, we are giving him a lot of chance, he has not improved. Okay, so this is how it will look like. Okay, now, okay, don't worry about this, don't get confused. Now, let me look at this here. So this is performance appraisal. You see the difference? Earlier on, when we talk about performance management, we talk about the company as a whole, starting from the company strategy objective, cascade down to the department, cascade down to individual. So performance appraiser is only a small, or it's a small part where the supervisor and the employee sit down with this purpose here. Then you see, sit down with the employee to discuss about his performance, talk to him, give him feedback. This is performance appraisal. Alright, it's a small part, it's a subset of performance management system. Alright, there's a need for us to make sure that there's a platform, there's an opportunity for the supervisor to sit down to communicate with him, to let him know how he performed, how he can do better. This platform, this opportunity is called performance appraisal. Okay, why do we need to do this? If you didn't do any appraisal, how do you know how well you have done? And how do you know, how do you decide what kind of training is required? So from the employer perspective, we need to really sit down, assess his performance. Now, from the employee perspective, the appraiser allowed him to know what exactly he needs to do to go to the next level. Career development, what kind of needs is required, what are the things that he need to improve. Isn't it? So nowadays we have this 360-degree feedback. The reason, very simple, we are afraid this manager may be biased towards him. So with this 360, we have more raters to appraise this person. We are hoping to reduce biasness. Okay, so this is a fight. Moving away from appraiser, you see, usually we have once a year kind of appraiser lah. Now what company are trying to do is constant feedback, continuous feedback. Every now and then, it could be formal or informal, every 2 to 3 months. We don't wait until 1 year. Annual means once a year. So once a year is a bit too long, too late. By the time you appraise him, it will be too late. So if you do it on a continuous basis, he's able to improve along the way. Okay? Now we talk about appraisal interview, Charles. How do you go about, if you are a supervisor, you need to appraise the employee. How do you go about preparing yourself so that your appraisal interview will be very effective? So these are the ways. You have to prepare. Before I see my employee John this afternoon, I would have prepared what to talk to him, his record. I would have kept track of what he has done over the last 12 months. Isn't it? So when I talk to him, and then before I talk to him, I must give him notice. Tell him, maybe let him, give him 1 week notice. Tell him next week, Monday, I'm going to, you can sit down with him. Let him prepare himself too. So these are some pointers. Okay? Some problem along the way. Alright, these are some issues. Inconsistent management and administration. You see, the managers sometimes is not able to carry out the interviews well, with the interview. So we must train the managers to teach them how to give constructive feedback. We need the line manager support. The line managers are the important person because they know the employee, they know the performance, so they know how to deal with them. They know how to talk to them, isn't it? So these are some of the potential problems you may find in the appraisal interview. And these are some of the issues involved. what are the criteria that we use to appraise an employee? So first of all, the criteria must be clearly spelled out. Employee knows, employee is aware, how are they being appraised? How frequent is the appraisal? Earlier on, we spoke about moving away from an annual. We do it on a more continuous basis. Okay? Communication, ownership, management role, potential to demotivate. Now, you see, if you don't carry out the appraiser interview well, and the supervisor do not know how to communicate, it can have a undesirable outcome. The employee feel very demotivated, very down, depressed, because of the words that you use to humiliate him or whatever. So the person who's doing the appraiser must be properly trained to carry out the appraiser interviews. This is what we are saying. Okay? Line manager's involvement. Okay, the line managers refers to the supervisor or the manager staff. Then you see training. Their role is to appraise as a coach, as an advisor, as a referral agent. If the supervisor thinks that John is not doing well, then he needs to do a lot of training is required, some kind of counseling is required. You can talk to me, you can refer to me. I will know how to handle from here. So the line managers play a very important, because as a HR manager, I do not know the employee well. Only the line manager and supervisor know them. They work with him every day. So this is the idea. Okay? We talk about the reward system, reward management. Right? The purpose of a reward system. Basically, we want to be able to attract, retain, and motivate. Largely, isn't it? Also, there are some key concepts. So, when we talk about reward system, we are talking about. You can see here on the right side. We are moving away from the left side to something that's more on the right. Best fit, making sure that we know what the company wants, and we are able to communicate, involve the supervisor and the managers over the years. So this is what you see happening. The designing part, how do you go about designing a reward system? We talk about fairness. We talk about making sure extrinsic versus intrinsic reward. We talk about the different type of reward system: team-based, individual-based, skill-based, pay for contribution, add value, value add, commission basis, all this. This is something, the different type of reward system. Okay? Yeah. Now, I just want to explain a bit on this. Now, see, remember we have been talking about alignment or integration. We talk about this business strategies. Many things here. And then this is the reward. Our concern is about the total reward. Now, remember we say if the company wants to focus on innovation, so employees who display strong innovation skill should be rewarded. This is what we're saying. Isn't it? As simple as that. Yeah? So when we design a reward system, what we are saying is, okay, the general principle must be, you see the general principle here, we come up with a salary structure. It must be based on job evaluation. We must know our market position. Where do we want to put ourselves in? We want to pay above market? We want to match the market? Or want to pay below market? Isn't it? Then we come up with a salary structure, and then we have other benefits that come into the picture. So the idea is, class, in order for you to develop an effective reward system, you must consult and involve the employees. So if you have a union there, and also involve the supervisor and managers. If you have a union there, it'll be good to involve the union leaders in all this whole the design process, so that they'll be more committed. They'll get a buy-in from that. Okay. Okay. So this what the following slide is just a explanation of what we covered in the earlier model. The structure, internal pay relationship, job evaluation. You must make sure the 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 value of the job is based on job description. How do you know this job is valued at what price? How much should we pay it based on the job description? This is job evaluation. Yeah. Isn't it? And then not only that, you also need to know about external. What is the market rate for this position? Do we want to match the market? Do we want to pay below market? Okay. Like this. Before we decide on the salary structure, we also must look at the kind of job, the kind of people that we need. What the market, labor market conditions. How tight is the labor market? How difficult for you to get the kind of people that you are looking for? Then if it's too difficult, you may have to adjust the market above the market rate. This part, yeah. Isn't it? Some company may also decide the type of reward system, whether it's based on performance or seniority. Performance based. Some company, the Japanese company, they reward you based on the seniority, long service, regardless of the performance. The American company tend to focus more on performance. Okay? So we need to balance the need to balance between control and development. That we want to reward, we want to make sure everything is done in a proper way. The criteria for us to reward the employee. At the same time, we also want to make sure we don't reward him too much now. There's opportunity to develop him further. All right. Okay. So these are things that we need to balance out. These are the different types of reward system class. Extrinsic versus intrinsic. Extrinsic rewards are basically something that's tangible, can be seen. For example, bonuses, salary increase. Intrinsic is something that it cannot be seen, intangible. For example, extra responsibility, a pat on the back, this is intrinsic. And then benefits. Now, in today's context, a lot of companies are looking into providing flexible benefit. They provide you with a core benefit. Then these are elective. They allow employee to choose. Very common. We call it flexible benefits. Okay? For this topic, we also need to understand the concept of psychological contract. Yeah. In terms of mutual understanding, commitment, right? In terms of making sure that the exchange relationship between the employee and the organizations. So essentially, when we talk about psychological contract, we're basically talking about employee. If you treat the employee well, they will reciprocate. They will do more. They'll run the extra mile for us. They'll be very committed. The reverse, if we don't treat the employee well, okay, if we need them, their help, they wouldn't bother. Commitment level will also suffer. So psychological contract basically talk about obligation in terms of the word mutuality means mutual. It's mutual. If you treat them well, they will reciprocate. That's the whole idea. Okay? We look at employee priorities. How do we go about making sure that employee needs are taken care of in our reward system? So we have flexible benefits, cater to different needs of people. Okay? Motivating employees. Alright, so this is motivations. We talk about content theory, process theory. We need to make sure that what are the things that motivates them, how are they being motivated, right? Process theories. Okay. The last part of this topic, we talk about performance-related pay. The employee being rewarded according to the performance. There are some issues here. Now, basically, the issue arises if we do not have a good performance appraisal system. Then you have a problem, right? So therefore, in order for you to have a very objective and effective performance-related pay, these are things that you must see. These are something that you must have. Conditions that must be there for performance-related pay to work. Otherwise, you will run into problem. Topic 4, performance management and reward management system. Any question, class? I'm going through you some key concepts. Okay? Any question, class? Okay, Topic 5, talk about change. Communication, culture, and change. This topic asks you to look at, essentially, this topic asks you to look at the relationship between HR and change, basically. Or change management. Why change is important, and what's your role in HR in all this change, all right? So there's a need for us to manage change. Why companies are changing, all right? And this is the reasons. Competition, a lot of things that's happening around us, okay? All right? When you change, culture is also affected. All right? Culture is the way we do things here, in layman's terms, right? So when we change culture, sometimes it may be very difficult, especially when we work in a company where there are a lot of old, long-service staff, and the company has been around for 30 years, 40 years. For you to want to change your culture overnight, it may take a while. Okay? What is the relationship between culture and HRM? Yeah. We play a very important role in creating, maintaining, and changing culture. Right? We are the change agent. So we are helping HR manager. We are helping the company to make the necessary changes. Right? Management of change. So you see this word communication. We need to really communicate. Make all efforts to communicate, get in touch with the employees when changes are required. In terms of recruitment and selection, right? The kind of change that you want to make will give you the opportunity to bring in the kind of people that you need to help you to make the change that you want to see happening. This is recruitment and selection. Isn't it? So you want to make sure you are able to bring in the kind of people that can help you in the change. All right. So this is where we are. Okay. So when we talk about change, HR plays a very important role. They are the drivers of change. And then when they are driving all this change, there are different stakeholders involved. There are people who will resist change for many reasons. These are the reasons. So what is the solution? What's the solution to overcome all this? Involve the people. Get them involved right at the beginning in the change process. Alright, so when you involve the people, then after that you introduce a change, then it will be much easier. People will more be receptive to the change. Then after that, when you are doing that, people buy in, you are able to consolidate the change. Where everybody can get together, understand the need for change, then the whole change journey will start. Communication. So you see, when the changes are going around, the key problem is we have not been able to communicate enough. So communication is very important in this whole change journey. Okay, so there are two. When we talk about communication, we talk about this two-way communication, making sure that we are able to be connected with the employees. All right, so we have upward and downward communication. What exactly does this mean? Upward, downward, two-way communication involve employee, involve getting connected with them, talking to them. How do we reach out to the employee? These are the methods. Very common communication tool is the employee newsletter. Okay, very common. Okay, and then what's the HR role exactly? I don't expect you to memorize all this stuff. I expect you to just have some idea. When changes are needed, you put yourself as a HR managers. What do we need to do? Understand? The key message is communication. Okay, and the reason why it fails could be this. Why change could have failed? So in order for you to succeed in the change journey, you might do this. I see the word again, communication. The employee fear the change. They feel it's a threat. Talk to them, engage them more. Tell them this is the opportunity to try out new things. Buy them over. Or if there's any help, if they need any help, counseling, offer them the help. All these things comes in. Podcast. So when you read this chapter, this is a short chapter. When you read this chapter, read with understanding. You'll be okay. You clear on this topic? Are you very clear? Can Topic 6 talk about retention and downsizing. So the remaining topics that you see is very relaxed, very common sense. So I just highlight to you some of the key points for you to bring home. Okay. So this topic is also a very short topic. Talk about how do we work, the strategies involved in retaining people, staff retention. Very common sense. Very common sense. Staff retention. What are the issues involved? We are talking about retention in terms of key people. We are not concerned about those people who are average or mediocre. If they want to leave, they leave. Our focus here is about key people. So, and and the fact that if we lose them, this could be the consequences. Is understood. Okay? Common perception. Let's have some idea. See, all turnover is the same as it's all bad. Not true. Not true, no. Some turnover are okay. There are people who are not doing well. It's better for them to leave. So these are some of the basic misconception. Don't worry. Just quickly run through. Okay, the misconception. Now, so the rest of the slide focus on what are the strategies that we can adopt to retain key people. Remember the word is key employee. We're not talking about those average or middle class employee. Who are the people? Who are our key people? So you must know. You must know who are our key people, who are the high flyers, who are the talented employees who want to keep. Isn't it? So these are the strategies. Useful for you to know, class. These are the strategies. All these HR related. Isn't it? From recruitment all the way to socializing. It's something that we need to do to keep the key talent. Alright, okay? Work-life balance, job design, making the job more interesting for the employee. Alright, okay? If research is one area that you want to focus on, and your researcher that you have, you really want to keep them, you may want to set up a special R&D facility to allow them to work, alright, so that they stay with us. Follow? So these are the retention strategies. Useful for you to take note. Okay, then don't worry about this. This topic also asks you to look at the concept of downsizing. Why are companies downsizing? What are the reasons why they do this? You can see here. Okay, many reasons. Yeah, there are many reasons. And then when you do this, you see the advantages and disadvantages. I'm not sure why. Wait, why the slide overlap? I must have overlapped the slides. Give me a minute. This is topic 6. Give me 1 minute. I'm trying to sort out the why the slides overlap so that Now I'm trying uh, to to separate the advantages and disadvantages for you. No, I'm not gone, Joshua. I'm still here. I'm trying to sort out the slides, huh? No, I don't know why. Okay. Okay, class. I just want to, you just take note, class. The advantages, I don't, I cannot, I reproduce another PowerPoint chart also the same thing. I don't know why. I just write down for you. Yeah. Can you take note, class? You see this? Advantages. Improve reputation, increase share price, decrease labor cost, increase speed of decision making. Just take note. Then the disadvantages, huh? These are the disadvantages. Somehow the slides overlaps, so I don't know why. So I try to prepare a new slide also the same. So can you just take note from the chat group, class? Are you there? All clear, class. Because the slides don't seem to work. Okay. All right. So we talk about this later, Kenneth. Let me finish the topic first. Is it okay? What are the options to manage employee insecurity? So the idea is we want to make sure employee is aware, all right, when there's a need for us, uh, when downsizing, uh, what are the things that we can do for them? Okay, so these are some of the ways: before, during, and after. Preventive, ameliorative, and restorative. Okay, so in terms of downsizing, these are some of the ways that we can go about downsizing. Redundancy is only one way, guys. There are many other ways that we can go about cutting manpower. Okay, each of them have advantages and disadvantages. So we look at it one by one. National wastage means we leave people to leave when they are retirement age, let them go, no replacement. This is part here. Okay, less intrusion in the employee's life. Okay, there's time for them to leave, let them go. Zone out the slide, yeah. What do you mean? A bit too small or too big for you? Adelina? Too big or too small? Is it okay? I zoom in already. Is it okay? This is the size I can only manage now. Cannot see it. Can I continue? This is the lowest I can go. I cannot go further. Can I? All right. So then within we spoke about redundancy, whether it's forced or voluntary. This is voluntary lah. Let them go. If they want to go, let them go. There's no worry about legal issue or this. They don't sue the company. Unlike compulsory legal issue, isn't it? You force them to leave, they're not happy with the payout, we don't pay them well, pay them off, they may complain, they may sue the company or this. Early retirement. Now people want to go off earlier. When you do this, one of the disadvantages you lost company member. Those people who have been there for long, all right? Before they even retire, they are leaving. In many ways, right? So these are some of the reasons why company need to ask you to go. All right. So we talk about here, sometimes you have no choice. Company is closing down. So because of automation, less people is required. So therefore, you need to lay off people. Okay. So when you actually need to lay off, these are some of the process. You must make sure you communicate, talk to people, announcing the announcement. If you keep quiet about this, there will be a lot of rumors going around, cause a lot of anxiety, then you have the issue. Okay? Employee support, there are people who get retrenched. You must make sure you provide them the platform to engage them, talk to them, answer their fears, Okay? So who are the people that you select to make sure that they need to go? Employee selection is very important. So some companies adopt a last in first out. The new staff are the first to go in the event of retrenchment. Isn't it? Very common. But some company, when they select people to go, they look at people who are skilled, long service, because they are more expensive. They go first. So in the event that this is happening, you provide them the support, outplacement service, help them to find a job. So those people who leave, okay, no problem, we take care of that. Just as important, those people who stay behind, just as important. We need to make sure these people, we treat them well. Isn't it? So they will look at how we treat those people who leave. So their morale will be affected. Very important. This is lesson 6 on retentions. Any question, class? Retention strategies, what are the things that you need to do? How do you go about laying off people, retrenchment? downsizing, all this. Question on this before I continue your class. Everybody okay? We look at topic 7 related to this topic, employee engagement. How do we go about engaging an employee? You see, all the topics now we are looking at it a little bit more common sense. Employee engagement, we need to understand what is the meaning of employee engagement. The definition here. You must remember, class, because the question would ask you define employee engagement. So whatever questions related to the topic, it will be good, it will be useful as an introduction. You do some definition to tell us you understand the topic. Then you move on. Okay, so this is one way to start your essay. Okay, 3 elements of employee engagement. Then 3 types, 3 elements three elements, and then we talk about how do we know that our employee are engaged. Yeah. By the way they say, by the way they stay, by the way they start, how much effort they put in. Okay? The scope of engagement. What does engagement cover? In the area of your involvement with the customer, in the job that you are doing, in the career that you're in, isn't it? In the team that you're involved in. So according to a report, when we talk about employee engagement, we are actually looking at all this. Some elements of employee engagement. How engaged you are depends on how much the company inspire you, how much you understand your role, how motivated you are. How do we, as a company, how do we go about making sure that you can become engaged by doing this? Clear vision, senior management. You see, our class, the topic that we have just covered, engagement, retention strategy, all this, the HR aspect, you need to know because we are doing a HR module. All right. So you can see here, like high level employee engagement, these are things that we talk about. Involve us, that we get an employee to be involved, input, and all this thing. Okay, like this. Career advancement, you see, all these are HR related. Resources available, good employer reputation, employer branding, all this has to do with us. Okay, so these are the exact strategy that you can adopt. You see, all this we go through one by one. Okay, you understand? Meaningfulness of work. HR related. To make sure the work is meaningful to the employees. Common sense, isn't it? So when you study this, you need to know the heading. You need to know a heading, then you elaborate in your own words. Isn't it? You don't memorize everything. So you need to understand what do you mean by meaningful work. You need to understand what do you mean by employee voice and involvement. So these are keywords that we look at. Okay? Supportive working environment. This is the keyword. Then you use your word to explain what do you mean by supportive. What do you mean by management communication? This is how you study, isn't it? Person job fit. Again, HR related. Line management involvement. Another way of looking at engagement strategies is right. Then this is common so-called best practice. These are ways that we can engage our employees. And then if you are able to do this, you can expect this outcome. Very happy to stay with the company, this is understood. So as a company, you can see this happening. Topic 7. Any question, class? See, the topic is quite straightforward. Common sense. Understand, class? So when you read the slides, you do it smartly. Every topic, so you just focus on the key area, the heading. That's how I told you, like this one, the strategy, the heading there. Just remember the heading. The rest you leave it, put it in your own words. You are not expected to go memorize word by word. Not possible. Question on topic 7. Can I move on? The last topic. Okay. Last topic is also very easy. Corporate social responsibility and the relationship and the role in HR. Very straightforward. All right, corporate social responsibility. Because ours is the HR topic, so every topic we need to link to the HR, the role of HR, the impact of HR. Also, some introduction. Read them, press. So the point is, we need to make sure we set the standard. All right, we are there to monitor. Because you are doing HR, so as a HR manager, you need to understand the relationship between our role as well as ethics, ethical behaviors, ethical guidelines. What is ethics? Definitely. Again, you see, every topic has some definition. So when you start writing for every topic, as I said, the question won't ask you straight like that, define all these things. It would be good to start off with some concept definition of that topic to show us your understanding. Then you will argue according to what the question asks you to do. Follow? This is what you should be looking at. Okay, so this is the question I take. Guidelines. Right, so we link you to this thing called corporate social responsibility. Issues like this: legality, honesty, rights of employee, customer, supplier, all this, that our employee must know. Local community, the well-being of the community, socially becoming a socially responsible employer. Okay, and the reason, the case for corporate social responsibility, yeah. Why do we need to do this? Why are we concerned about this? Normative, all right, very normal. And there's a reason for we need to do this, because it will enhance the company's success. And then the drivers of CSR. These are the people who drive us to be more involved in corporate social responsibility work. Some of the things that we do as part of corporate social responsibility. I say, this is just an example to show you PwC as part of their corporate social responsibility strategies. This is topic 8, the last topic class. Very easy. Any questions now? Now I want to add, I didn't cover in the slides here. I think it's useful for you to know. How is this CSR linked to HRM? 3 ways. Selection. When you select people, when they join you, the people that you select must have the highest ethical standard. Isn't it? Because we are pursuing ethics, we want to make sure people have high ethical values. So when you bring people in, you must make sure they have high integrity and ethical values. Once they come in, you need to train them. You need to make sure they know about our ethical standard, our ethical expectations. After training them, you need to reward them. So employees who show good ethical behavior should be rewarded. This is our role, HR role, in promoting ethics, ethical practices, ethical behavior. Are you there, class? All clear? All right, huh? Okay, so we have covered the contents. Now, I've also given you a slide on a module overview. I just want to highlight one thing about your. Now, this is a topic that we have just covered. I've just highlighted to you some of the key concepts. Now, your exam, this is an online exam. I understand from the exam site will send you the details. Now, this is a normal before COVID close board audit. It is a 5-hour exam paper online. 5 hours, according to the exam department that I spoke to this morning. They will give you the details before the exam. Okay, so online is an online version. Now, I want to explain to you a bit more on this. Yeah. Yeah, keywords. Now you will find in the exam paper, that you will not see words like describe, right? All other words like evaluate, discuss, outline, justify, you are likely to see them. The word describe tend to be a little bit more diploma level kind of questions. So you see, when we talk about discuss, explain, illustrate, it's very general, very broad. Okay, now what we are looking for, this is something that, and I actually give definition, because the question doesn't ask for definition by direct. You are expected to it will be good as an introductory, start off with some definition, concepts. Now, then you see synthesis and evaluate, argue. You may include examples in. Your own understand. No, your understanding must be based on theory, Marcus. Understand? It must be based on the theory and concept that we cover. It cannot be based on your understanding, right? So we need to see some theoretical knowledge. Start. This is a reason now. This is common, yeah. All right. So this is what I want to share with you. Now you see, each question is about. You need to answer. There are all five questions there. You need to answer 3 questions. Okay. So each question, you can put it as 100 marks. Then we divide by 3 lah. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you the length of the questions, the length of the answers that I need to see for each question. It should be average 3 to 5 pages long. Average per question. Usually there are 2 parts. Are you following? 3 to 5 is a minimum. There's no maximum. Yeah. Okay. Now, this is what. So, what to say? 3 to 5 questions. 3 to 5 pages per part. Yeah, per part. So if the part is 20 marks, let's say it's 100 mark questions. The part is 20 marks. Part A is 20 marks. Part B is 80 marks. Of course, you spend less number of words on the 20 marks now. That kind of concept, that kind of logic lah. Clear? Marcus? Understand? Yeah, I've covered everything that I need to cover. Is Nira. This is what I need to share with you. The key concepts. There's no focus area because every topic is covered. You may not need to buy the textbook lah, but I suggest you may get hold of some HRM textbook as a reference. I leave it to you. You want to buy, fine. But I'm saying the notes that's given to you and the strike that's given to you is a good starting point. Then from there you do further research on other HRM book. This is what you should do, Manish. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now I'm not going to let you off yet, I'm suggesting for the next 10 minutes, run through what we have covered. If you have questions, you ask me before you leave. Research means what, Alina? You need to do your research on the theories, what's given to you is just the basic. If you do further research, you have more understanding on the theories, isn't it? Make sense or not? Yes, you do need to lah. You do need to. You need to do research. What you are given, the PowerPoint slide and the lecture notes is just a starting. So you may want to do further research. It will strengthen your answers. Citations may not be required. If you can put in citation, it will be good, but not necessary. Yeah, Ivan? Yes, 5 hours. This is online. All right. The exam site will communicate with the students in due course. I was told to inform you. Kenneth? No, this is the site I mentioned just now is a classroom exam. We're talking about online now, it's different. So what you see in the slide is not relevant, Kenneth. Last exam, I'm not sure that. Marcus, why you're asking this? Yeah, this module is phased out. So we're hoping that you clear this module fast. Of course, Marcus, that's not a problem. We'll help you pass, don't worry, everybody will pass. Oh, 2 grades. Why? What happened? Moderation. Is it because of that, Marcus? Okay. This stuff shouldn't be a problem. All right? Now, anybody else have any questions, class? Please ask before you leave. Yeah, we need you to, this one now, just I mentioned to you here. This part here, no, in this era, yeah, we talk about here. This part, slide number 11, number 12. 11 and 12 here is something that you need to look at. Are you there? Not necessary, Adelina. Not necessary. If you can put in, that will be good, but not necessary. Okay? No, we look at it in the whole context. If you can put in, it's relevant, no issue. So we look at the four answers. Can I? No lah, how will you? Nobody will fail. It's enough, don't worry. If you follow the concept, remember we need to see some theories and concepts. So for every question, answer that you write, you don't write generally. You must make sure there's the relevant theory that we covered in the lesson. Put it in, so that you know the concept. Understand? It cannot be too general. If it's too general, we wouldn't know you have learned something from our syllabus. So we need you to incorporate those concepts that you learn. Then you discuss further, and you argue, depending on the questions. Then you'll be okay. In his era, are you okay? Not to worry. Really, not to worry. Yeah, concepts, so you need to incorporate those concepts. Then you may bring an example is to support your answers.